Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to Blazers Uprise Live. Today, we'll get right into picks against the spread in a minute. We'll break down the Blazers Jazz contest tonight. And Belgian, again, that's not my wife. That is my daughter. So, but yeah. So, welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Tori's got the graphics already, so it wasn't a good day for chat again, if I recall. But oh yeah, 2-6, nice.
All right, I think I'm good to go. Okay, for some reason my mic didn't work, so I had to toss it over to Eric for the intro. Good job, Eric. Now I am back and going. So, yeah, what's going on, guys? Hope you guys are having a good day. We're jumping straight into picks against the spread, like Eric said. We will preview the Jazz game in a second. And, yeah, that's what we got on tap for today. Actually, before we get into this, all right, so that's what we're doing for the stream. Also, I'm going to start with this stream uploading it to an RSS feed. That a lot of you probably don't know what that is, but basically I'm going to try and get the audio from our streams onto Spotify, onto iTunes, under podcasts. This isn't a podcast, right? A lot of people say we do a podcast. I don't refer to anything we do as a podcast anymore.
We did it first, but yeah.
We did it first, but it's a live stream, so
Yep.
It's a little bit different, and that's like the basis for it. But you will be able to find us under podcast sections. Hopefully in a few days, we'll try and get on as many platforms as possible. Hopefully that'll help us maybe expand our audience a little bit. But also for you, if you want to listen to us on the go, say you can't make it in for a stream and you want to go work out later, and you want a convenient way to, listen to us while you work out or maybe while you drive, that's what we're going to try and do for you. We've talked about in the past. Now we're actually moving forward with that. So hopefully that is something that will work for all of you. So we'll start off with this episode. Will probably be the first upload on it. We just got to have some sort of content on our RSS feed in order to actually get onto Spotify. So we're just going to get that ball rolling. Anyway, picks against the spread. Rough day for Trevin. Reese is no longer in last, Eric.
Wow.
Congratulations to Reese Cooley. He's no longer in last. He's only 5 games behind me and Zach. Okay, Reese has been on a roll lately, and Reese is only 14 games behind Chat. Chat's been struggling. Chat's been slumping. We need some fresh people in here to hopefully change up the role that Chat is on here, because the ball is rolling in the wrong direction for them. You're only 2 games back of them, Eric. Chat might not be in first after today. Hopefully I can gain some ground. I've been struggling. Zach was on a roll. He's been struggling. But we're all getting bunched up here. It was pretty, there's a pretty wide gap there. It's all coming together for the stretch run of the season. So hopefully, I would love for it to be really bunched up at the end. That'd be fun.
Yeah, like coming down to last week and everyone still has a chance. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
that would be very cool.
This is why they say if you're hitting above 50% against the spread, even the best of the best hit about 54% of the games. It's not like they get 80% right or something. So definitely would trend back towards everyone eventually regressing to the mean versus someone just running away with it. So, I mean, I would love to just run away with it past Chad and destroy all you guys, but realistically, when you're picking against the spread, that's just not something that happens very often.
Yep. After Monday, we are 200 games in. Obviously not 200 games picked, because we've done 25 picks against the spread segments. That's why, like Reese is 15 and 10 in terms of double downs. But total, I'm 99 and 101. So we're 200 games in. Right now, Chat is exactly at 54%. That 54% you mentioned. So Chat's sitting there at 108 and 92. They're sitting pretty right now, but they've been struggling and they've been regressing back to the mean. So let's see if they can kind of get the ball rolling more positively now. Let's jump into game number 1. This game's on TNT, tipping off at 4:30. The nice thing about the tip times today, Eric, there's no 4 p.m. tip.
Oh, so
it's a 4:30 tip.
Nice.
Yeah, so we'll be able to make our double down picks before any game could potentially be tipping off. But Miami is a 9-point favorite going against the Lakers. This game being played in Miami. The Lakers are missing LeBron and AD. Is there any other injury news for both teams, Eric?
I have not had a chance. I just rushed home from work, so I haven't really looked at many of the injury reports yet. So
I will.
We'll have to rely
really
on
early
Shaq
with
for
it.
that one.
I was really early with it today, and it kind of surprised Eric because normally he's waiting on me. So I don't blame him for that. That's it's unusual for me to be ready with it quickly.
Drummond is playing. People are saying Kuz is out for the Lakers. That's a big one.
Ooh, that's a good thing for the Lakers.
Yeah.
This is a tough spread. I don't know, man. It's an extremely tough spread. I mean, Heat seem healthy.
Tyler Hero out for the Heat.
Trevin is going with the Heat.
I'm assuming Butler and Bam are playing.
What did Taylor Horton Tucker get suspended for? Did I miss? Did he do something?
Several players got suspended for leaving the bench during that OG body slam of Schroeder the other day.
So who else other than Horton Tucker?
OG got fined, I know. Let me look this up real quick.
14-1 Heat for Chat. So Trevin and Chat are going Heat so far. Very likely this ends up being Chat's double down. Reese and Zach are also going Heat. I will go Heat as well. Eric's trying to figure out who got suspended in that brawl. We haven't had many brawls this year. We haven't had many fights, it seems like. Kind of boring. Kind of disappointing, man. I want more feistiness out there. But it's almost like players are just going through the motion, and there isn't any more emotion left in the game at times, you know? And things never get chippy like that. It's disappointing. I love that stuff. I want more of it.
It says only... Under Tucker, it says only he was suspended, but I was pretty sure there was a couple others that left the bench. Maybe that was on Toronto.
Zach, I have no idea what that means, man. So what's your pick, Eric? You gonna make it a clean sweep for the Heat?
Yeah, I'll make it a clean sweep.
All right, everybody is going with the Miami Heat in game number 1. Let's move on to game number 2. You got Chicago versus Toronto. This colorway was tough to figure out. I had to make a new like background for the Bulls graphic because I only had red graphics for both these teams and they're too similar. So you got the Bulls going on the road to Tampa Bay to face Toronto. Toronto sitting at 20-31, Bulls at 21-28. Chicago is a 4-point favorite on the road in this one. The Bulls make that big trade for Vucevic. They bring in Daniel Tice, and they haven't really been any better. They were hovering around 500 for a while. Now they're 7 games below 500. So kind of hard to get a feel for what that team is right now.
Looks like Levine and Markkanen are both available to play tonight. The only two that aren't are Garrett Temple and Adam Akoka, who doesn't matter. And then for the Raptors, they've been starting some weird lineups lately.
Somebody said they only have 8 players available today.
Oh, Van Vliet was suspended and Bembry was suspended.
Okay, so they got Lowry, OG, Gary Trent Jr. I mean, he's still got some talent.
Lowry is out as well for injury reasons. Hood is still out. McCaw, Paul Watson, Jalen Harris, all out. So, yeah.
All right, I will go with the Bulls. It looked like Chat went 13-2 for the Bulls. Chat has been pretty collective on their votes. Zach is also going Bulls. This could be another clean sweep.
I'm going Bulls as well.
All righty. Let's see. Do we have Reese or Trevin? Trevin and Reese are also going with the Bulls. So we got another clean sweep for the Bulls. Let's hope we can get some more variety in this next game, which is going to be OKC taking on Cleveland. This game being played in OKC. Cleveland is a 3.5-point favorite. I think we'll get a wider variety of picks on this one. This seems like a pretty hard one to pick.
I'm gonna just check Gilgeous Alexander's status. I think he's still out for another week or so, but just want to make sure.
Yeah, chat's already just on fire with the picks. They don't even wait for your injury news, but I'm cool with that. That probably explains why they've been struggling lately.
Yeah, Dort and SGA look like they're still out indefinitely. It doesn't look like either of them are going to play.
Yep. But chat can
Poku's
have
been balling.
Yeah, he's been playing well. It's good to see. Chat can have a injury report up alongside the stream if they want. So they can get that information themselves. But I am going to roll with the Cavaliers in this one. OKC's just been playing garbage lineups. Cleveland's been playing bad, but I think their last game, I think they were the right pick, and I picked against them. I'm not sure if that's correct, but got a feeling the Cavs will win this game. Maybe not comfortably, but by more than 3.
Yeah, I'm also going with the Cavs. Just feel more comfortable with them, even though they haven't been great for most of the last couple months. But yeah, just have a feeling with them tonight.
Yeah. Well, I said we'd maybe get a wider variety of picks, but me, you, Reese, and Zach are all going Cavs. Chat is going Cavs, and Trevin's pick is probably up there. Yeah, Trevin's going Cavs. So the first 3 games, oh my. The first 3 games are clean sweeps.
Close though, 8-7.
Yeah, 8-7 for chat. Yikes. Anyway, game number 4. You got Milwaukee versus Dallas. Dallas is a 2-point favorite. Milwaukee's playing without Giannis, I'm
assuming, yeah. I don't know why they would be favored if he wasn't. PJ Tucker is out. Giannis is doubtful. Okay. Kristaps playing for Dallas. They have Redick, Cauley Stein, and Kleber and Burke all out. Kleber.
So Milwaukee has Middleton, Holiday. Dallas has Luka and Porzingis. I'd rather take the Dallas pairing there. The depth behind that, I think, is probably pretty similar.
Yeah, I'm taking Dallas.
Yeah, I'm also going to take Dallas. Trevin is going Bucks. Zach is going Mavs. At least this isn't a clean sweep. Thank goodness. Reese says it's tough. 9-6 for the Bucks for chat. So got some variety.
9-6 Bucks?
Yeah, we'll see if Reese wants to make it a split. Nah, it's Reese is going Mavericks as well. So you got Trevin and chat going for the Bucks. Me, Eric, Reese, and Zach going for the Mavericks. Thank goodness it's not a clean sweep. I don't want another clean sweep. Hopefully we end how we should with some variety in here. Game number 5, you got Phoenix going into LA to take on the Clippers. The Phoenix Suns are on the second night of a back-to-back, but are coming off a win against the Utah Jazz. A big win for them in overtime. These teams, I didn't update the record for the Clippers, by the way. There's almost always one error in the graphics, and I didn't fail to let you down this time. The Suns are 36-14. The Clippers, I believe, are something like 32-19, somewhere in there. But this game is being played on TNT at 7 p.m. Clippers 6-point favorites in this one. I'm going to wait to make my pick. I've been making my pick pretty fast. Trevin is going Suns. Injuries, Eric? You know?
Ibaka's out for the Clippers. The Suns, I believe, are relatively healthy.
Zach, the difference between $8-7 and $9-6 doesn't really matter. So this is not going to be their double down. Reese is going with the Suns. Zach is going with the Suns.
Man, this is a huge game.
Jackson says, chat, why do you spam so fast? Because there's 80 people in here and people want their vote to count.
Yeah, I don't see anyone on the injury report other than Abdel Nader for the Suns. So, relatively healthy game in terms of injuries for both teams. Hey, I'm going to take the 6 points and go with the Suns.
All right. I just hate that everybody's picked Suns. Oh, I might have said Mavs, Zach. My bad. Yeah, it's definitely Bucks for chat on that last one. I'm gonna wait till chat's vote. I hate picking with everyone, man. You got Eric, Reese, Zach, Trevin with the Suns right now. We'll see what chat goes with.
So you're basing it on other people's votes, not yours?
No, I'm like 50-50 on this. I'm pretty
Yeah.
50-50. I'd probably lean Suns, but it's like I always like gut feeling on the Suns is always wrong, and gut feeling says to take the Suns here. Mm-hmm. So I'm second guessing it. You know, I'm overthinking it. Seems like it might be Clippers. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to take the Suns. At least if I'm wrong with everybody else. 8-7 Clippers for chat. Okay, good. It's not a clean sweep. We all can gain a game on chat. Let's move on to the next one. This one's going to be really interesting, Eric. This one's going to be extremely interesting. You got Portland going into Utah. Utah is a 6-point favorite.
Nurk is going to play, it looks like, right?
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it. Who's out for Utah, by the way?
I think they're relatively healthy. Oh, Clarkson's out.
Didn't something happen to Gobert last night?
I am checking. This will be important for later, too.
Zach is going with Portland. I mean, everybody's already made their picks, so I guess it only matters for me and you. Yeah. Trevin is going Jazz. I will try and figure out if there's a way we could like put a poll somewhere. I just don't want people to have to click off the stream to do it.
I think Gobert just lost his eye contact last night. I don't think he got hurt.
Contact was definitely needed to put contact in there. You paused after eye. Gobert lost his eye contact.
Yeah, it looks like Clarkson might be the only significant one.
Mm-hmm. Looks like chat is going Jazz 9-6. Chat rarely picks against the Blazers, but here we are.
Zach said Blazers, Trevin Jazz. I'm going to take the Jazz.
All right. Yep. I'm also going to take the Jazz until Portland can show that they can't lose by double digits against a good team. They lose every game against a good team by double digits, it seems like. And you're talking about the Jazz at 38-13. Yeah, 6-point spread. I will take the Jazz.
Reese is going Jazz as well.
So Zach's on an island with the Blazers. I thought this might be a little bit more split, but he's the only one going with Portland in this one. Final game of the night. Yeah, Sacramento versus Detroit. Sacramento is a 7.5-point favorite. What are the injuries on this one? Chat might want to wait to vote. Which means they won't. Jeremy Grant is out, says Jackson. Jackson hit that quick. Good job, Jackson. So with Grant out, I mean, this is still tough because Sacramento isn't good. 7.5 points is a ton for Sacramento.
Plumlee's questionable.
Yeah, chat doesn't waste time, especially when we got 86 people in here, man.
Killian Hayes came back.
That probably hurts them.
And then I think he sat out Tuesday, but I think he's going to play tonight.
Good. He's barely gotten a chance, and he needs... I feel like if he didn't get hurt, his season might have gone kind of like how Poku's has, because Poku was awful for a while, and then lately Poku's been putting together a lot of good games. Mm-hmm. I feel like Killian Hayes might have been the same way if he was able to stay healthy. Unfortunately, he got injured. 4 Kings for chat.
I hardly ever do this, but I'm taking the Kings too, even with that monster point spread.
I'm also taking the Kings.
Trevin's taking the Kings.
All right.
Gosh, this is going to be a tough double down night.
Yeah, hopefully we can have variety. That's what's nice about the double downs, is the double downs create a little bit more variety. Since you're, if anybody's new, we doubled down on a game, which makes it worth 2 wins if you get it right, or 2 losses if you get it wrong. So if everybody picked the same teams, depending on who doubled down on what, you could have different records, even if everybody made the same picks game by game, just as long as the double downs are different.
Zach is, for the second straight game, going on an island.
Okay, good job, Zach. He is going with Detroit. And Reese's pick? I haven't seen it yet.
Reese picked the Kings.
Okay, Kings, yes.
He says
okay.
Kings IG.
Mm-hmm. So, island there. Let me buy these. Double down time. I am going to double down on the Jazz. Oh, I already have the Jazz under mine. Cool.
All right. Going double against the Blazers tonight, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Man, hopefully for your sake they don't lose by 5.
I know. Like, if the Blazers lose by more than 5, please. The loss will be easier to take.
I am going to take the Suns.
Alrighty.
I don't know why, but...
Honestly, it's not a bad double down pick. There's a lot of double down picks that would be solid in this one. I feel extremely confident with pretty much all my picks in this one. Now, last time I said that, I think I went below 500, so I probably shouldn't say that again, but I'm feeling pretty good. Zach's going with Chicago.
So is Reese.
Alrighty. I will put the Red Bulls logo in there. Just looks better. Instead of the black one kind of blends in to the graphics.
Chats is the first one, the Heat.
Chat voted for Miami 14-1, so their double down is the Heat.
And I probably missed.
Yeah, let me know what Trevin's is.
Trevin's.
I'm currently putting together the full picks sheet.
Trevin, I don't see yours if you double down. Sorry, I missed it. Have to go Bulls for Trevin as well.
We always miss Trevin's. All right, so no variety from our mods at all with this one. They are all doubling down on the Bulls. Chat's doubling down on the Heat. Eric's doubling down on the Suns. I am doubling down on the Jazz against the Blazers. Now would be the night for the Blazers to probably still lose, but then actually be competitive against a good team. Watch. I mean, obviously, I'm still rooting for the Blazers and whatnot. But I'll hedge my bets. Just like I did in my bracket pool as a Gonzaga fan, I picked Baylor to win it all, and Baylor won it all. And I won my bracket pool. Eric finished third.
You have the conundrum, Tori, though. Where you're always really good at picking games, so if you would have picked Gonzaga, would you have won?
I have picked the champion right 3 or 4 out of the last or like out of the last 3 or 4 years, I've picked the champion right. I've won my bracket pool 3 years in a row. Like I picked Oral Roberts to be Ohio State at 15/2. I picked USC to go Elite 8 as a 6 seed. I picked Syracuse to go to the Sweet 16 as an 11. So it's like my upset picks have been on point too, but I've also picked the champion right. So I've been really good in my bracket pool. But the last time I picked Gonzaga in 2013, they were a 1 seed. I picked them to win it all. They lost to a 9 seed in Wichita State in that second round. Since then, I have never picked Gonzaga to win it all. Because I felt like it would jinx them, because that was the first year they were a 1 seed. They lost to a 9 seed when I picked them. So since then, I've been against that. But I've been on fire the last 4 years. So I think next year I'm going to have to go with them. We're just waiting on, Chet Holmgren to announce his decision.
Yeah.
I will be ecstatic when he should end up putting that Bulldogs hat on. It sounds like from all accounts he's going to follow in the footsteps of his former high school teammate in Jalen Suggs. So we'll see what happens there. But the Blazers tonight go up against the Jazz. Eric, if the Blazers are going to win this game, what is the key for them? I know most people just say defense, but like what specifically defensively could they do to maybe have a chance? What scheme would you come out in? Especially since it sounds Nurkic is playing, would you maybe have him play up at the point of the screen a little bit more? What are your thoughts on the keys to this game and the defense?
Yeah, so last year Utah was the number one percentage-wise team shooting threes in the NBA, and this year they were first for most of the year. The Clippers passed them, so the Clippers, our last opponent, was number one, and this Utah team is number 2. So I think you have to find a way to stay connected to their shooters. They have shooters at several positions. And I just feel like you have to find a way to not give up open threes, especially in the first few minutes of this game, because last game against the Clippers, what happened is they get some open threes, and then they get into a rhythm, and then it's like, oh, crap, here we go again. How many points are they going to score this quarter? Whereas if you get a few stops right off the bat, that can be like, oh, like we got to stop. Let's keep getting stops or whatever. Maybe you can put together a good first quarter and stay in some of these games versus having to claw your way back and use up all your energy trying to fight back from being down double digits. So I think just staying attached to the shooters. If you have to switch, you have to switch, I think, against this team. I wouldn't automatically switch, but I wouldn't just sag off the picks and let guys like Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley get ahead of steam. I also wouldn't give them open threes. So I would definitely have Nurkic as close to the pick as possible, even if he's not trapping. And Gobert's gonna get his off some of the lobs off of that and stuff, but as long as we're not giving up open threes, I think we can live with a little bit of tough little runners in the lane and having them lob it to Gobert and him having to score a lot of points or shoulder that offensive burden.
Yeah, and here's the thing that Utah does really well. They do a really good job of stepping into the pass when they're spotting up, right? So they're either stepping into the pass and just, going left, right, and shooting, stepping into the shot. Or if the closeouts are a little bit too over-aggressive, they're stepping into the pass, so they already have momentum where they'll just catch the pass and keep going at the closeout. So against Utah, you have to do a really good job of closing out, okay? You can't close out short, or else they're just stepping into wide-open threes, and they're a good shooting team. If you are too aggressive by stepping into passes, they can catch the ball and really go downhill on you as well, and then their ball movement after that is good. Like if you collapse on them, they do a really good job of kicking it out and moving the ball to find the best shot possible during that possession. That's why they're 38-13. They've generally been a defensive team, but their offense has really stepped up this year, and that is one of Quinn Snyder's philosophies, is to always try and get guys catching the ball, stepping into the pass, stepping towards the defender that's closing out. So our closeouts have to be good. Here's my issue with Portland in closing out. And it's been this way all year. And honestly, I haven't really touched on this a whole lot. It
goes in with the general laziness of the off-ball situation, but yeah.
They close out short a lot.
Yeah.
And if they don't close out short, they're biting on pump fakes.
Mm-hmm.
That is not going to work against the Utah Jazz. You have to be disciplined and you have to close out well against them. The Blazers are not a team that closes out well at all. They close out short and what should be maybe a contested three is an open three, or they bite at the pump fake and the shooter can either relocate for three and be open or simply drive because they basically take themselves out of the play. But the Portland takes themselves out of the play by biting on pump fakes. So that's the thing that I would really watch out for in this game is how is Portland closing out on shooters, right? Because this is a team that can really exploit that. All the other areas of defense will obviously be an area of focus as well, just like any other game. The defensive rotations, the help side positioning, that sort of stuff. How we defend the pick and roll, too, as well, with Nurkic being in the lineup. But this team does a really good job of exploiting closeouts, so I feel like that is more of an area of emphasis than it normally would be in any given game.
And Utah uses a lot of pick and roll, but they also use it in a way to get shots for other players, not just the players involved in the pick and roll. So that's where those closeouts come into play, is if you're not involved in the pick and roll in defense, you have to stay aware of where your guy is and how far away you are from that player so you have enough time to get back to him to close out properly, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so offensively, I feel like the keys would be generally the things that we always say we want, but is there something you, like a mismatch potentially you would try and attack, or something like specific to Utah that you would look for Portland on the offensive end?
Well, we have three guards, and traditionally now with Powell in the mix, before that we had a situation where if they have Conley, obviously he didn't play well last year, but this year he's been much more closer to himself, and so him and Mitchell are very good defensively. Ingles is good defensively. Gobert is obviously a really good rim protecting big. So, but now we have that dynamic where we have a guy like Powell, so it's really hard for them to guard all three. And so I think we just have to exploit and go to whichever guard run plays for whichever one has the mismatch and who isn't getting the focus of Utah's attention, and try to adjust on the fly. I know that's not going to happen, but if it was me, I would adjust to because I'm pretty confident with Nurk and Rocco as the other two players. Like Rocco's shooting amazing lately, so I'm all for him getting shots at the 3-point line. I'm all for Nurk being a focal point of the offense. So whatever player they're not giving their defensive attention to, I think we should exploit that and make them switch to that player. And then therefore, most likely that wouldn't be Dame or CJ. And then towards the end of the game, they might have to adjust if we're sticking into the game or have a lead. And that would free up Dame and CJ for better looks later on in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you got to get Dame going early. Dame has had big games against the Jazz in the past. He dropped 59 points on them a few years ago. I was at that game. I witnessed it. Gobert can do any... Gobert can play in any defensive scheme. He's extremely smart and knows how to play any defensive scheme. And, you don't really view him as mobile, but he's so, big, and he's more mobile than I feel like some people might give him credit for. He's able to hedge. He's able to trap even. But this is a game I'll be curious to see what they're doing. You can soft show Gobert, and he's so lanky that he can still contest threes. He doesn't have to step up to the point of the screen to have a good contest. But when they've dropped Gobert in the past, Dame has been able to have some success. So I think you come into this game hoping Dame can get it right. He's struggled in the past few games. I think it would be good to try and get him going early to kind of set the tone, because you're going to have to score 120 points if you're the Blazers to win this game, in my opinion. It's going to be hard because the Utah is a really good defense. That's why I'm doubling down on the Jazz in picks against the spread. You're gonna have to get Dame going early, and really make them commit to guarding him, and then hope that opens up other stuff.
For how good Gobert is protecting the rim, though, Dame seems to I wouldn't say have his number, but like Dame seems to be able to finish a lot around Gobert, um, like using his aggressiveness against him a little bit, and going up with either a quick lay in or using the rim as protection and going to the other side, or we've seen him just flat out dunk on him before too. So yeah, it's like I think Dame, if he can get by and has the mismatch with Gobert, I think Dame is skilled enough to be able to lay it in. But if Gobert is paying a lot of attention to Dame, he should have a huge game sharing the ball. And that's another thing that we always harp on is I feel like against a good defensive team like this that's going to be locked in tonight, you have to find a way to move the ball and get everyone involved. And I think they can stick in it. And I will say this: if they're trapping Dame and we just continue to run pick and roll the whole game, I'm going to be so frustrated. I'm going to come on here and be very mad about it after the game because I just don't understand why we continue to run pick and roll, inviting Dame to get trapped every time, and then people are like, "Oh, Dame's struggling. He can't. He's not that good against good defenses or in the playoffs or whatever." And it's just so frustrating that like Dame's too close to it to see what's going on, but like it's pretty obvious to me if we used him a little better in those situations, it would not only be better for the team, but would relieve some of that pressure of him having to shoulder all the burden of the offense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so many things. I like that we were able to kind of come up with some things that differentiates this game from a typical game, because all the typical themes will still apply, as far as if they're trapping Dame, we gotta either not keep running Dame into traps at half court, or we got to set up the floor to adjust against it, to exploit it. Right? That's been a theme all season, though. That doesn't change for any team we play. If a team traps Dame, we got set up to exploit it. It can be a bad team. Dame can beat traps a little bit easier against a poor defense, but, I want to see us exploit it with ball movement, with proper positioning, with that sort of thing. That applies to any game in any situation in which Dame gets trapped. The ball movement applies to any game. Playing good defense, in terms of, being correctly positioned, mixing up the schemes and then executing them, closing out so many things apply to each and every game that at times it's hard to kind of differentiate between individual matchups, and things that Portland has to look for. But, get Dame going, my key is you got to get Dame going early. You got to, if they're dropping the big, you want Dame to be aggressive and see if he can get on the roll exploiting Gobert like he has been in the past. It's hard because Gobert is probably the best defensive big man in the league, but Dame has been able to have some success. So try and get him going early. The closeouts have to be on point. And you just gotta be solid, man, because it's a team that just is a very fundamentally based team. They do the fundamental things well. All the little things we talk about defensively, they do those to a T. And if you focus on that tonight, you will see that. The ball movement, they got that. They execute well. They play smart. They don't force tough shots. That's why they're 38-13 going into tonight.
Yeah, and that's always what's frustrating to me against a team like Utah, because we've seen in the past where we seemingly on paper should lose against them, especially with how good their defense is. But we do things like move the ball for a quarter, and it frustrates them because we're getting open shots and they're not used to teams getting good shots against them. And then we go right back to going right into the strength of their defense. So I just want to see game plans like you're mentioning for one team, and I want to see them execute different things against one specific team versus just Dame gets trapped, we have to do this against every team. Teams trap different ways, they have different players that make it different and stuff like that. So Utah provides unique challenges, and I just want to see them come up with some ideas to try and and counteract that. And that's the most frustrating thing to me about Stotts is it seems like every game you hear, oh, well, that's just what we do, or that wasn't the game plan. Nurk just went rogue, or it's just different things where it's like, well, why aren't you coming up with a plan to attack these things or to play against the Utah Jazz, not just, oh, we're Portland, we run this, and this against every team. So yeah, I just don't understand not having. You don't have to have like a comprehensive game plan, but there should be a few things. The day of a game, you're talking to your players about, I want to try this, and this in this game and see what happens. And then it's frustrating too when we do see it for like a play or something, and then they don't run it again for like weeks. And it's like, well, that play worked against this team last time or whatever. So yeah, it's. I just want to see him overall improve that on a game-to-game basis, and I don't feel like that's being addressed properly like it should be, even though I'm sure it is somewhat. I just don't feel like they do enough on that end and that's why we struggle against these good teams.
Yep. Trevin says Stotts will be patting his legs. I don't know if you saw that video clip.
That was hilarious.
Let me pull up the first game we played against them. Now, this was on opening night, so a very long time ago, and a lot from that game probably won't apply. It was the first game of the season. But if you remember that game, Eric, we came out hot, moving the ball well, and came out, I think we had like an 8-point lead, right? And it was just all downhill from there, which was very disappointing. But looking back at that game, Rocco, 1 point, 21 minutes, shot 0 for 3 from the three-point line. He's shooting a lot better than he did at the start of the season. Derrick Jones was 3 for 5 from the three-point line, and, he was starting that game. Nurkic had 13 points, 3 assists, 3 boards in 22 minutes, so that was a good night for him. 1 for 2 from the three-point line, 5 for 9 from the field. Dame struggled in that game, though. In 34 minutes, he had 9 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. We almost scored 100 points despite shooting okay-ish 36% from 3, but we were 40% inside the arc. We really couldn't get much success in there. We also did not get on the offensive glass at all, despite the fact that we missed, let me do some math here. We missed 55 shots and only got 6 offensive rebounds. So they controlled the glass. They got 12 offensive rebounds despite the fact that they missed less shots than us. We only turned over the ball 6 times. Didn't seem to matter. We did have 23 assists in that game. Dame had 7 of those. It's just, I don't know. Dame struggling really hurt us in that game. Only shooting 12 shots. You probably want to get him up around 15 to 20 attempts at least. If he gets it going, you probably want him shooting more than 20 times. But Dame also didn't make a free throw that game too. So it's not just a 4 for 12. He was 0 for 1 from the free throw line. So he wasn't even able to get to the line. As far as they go, they had 20 points from Mitchell. They had 20 and 17 from Gobert. They had 15 from Bogdanovich. They had 18 points from Mike Conley. They had 15 off the bench from Clarkson, who they'll be missing tonight. They had 14 from Ingles. They had 10 from Derek Favors. So it wasn't any one guy that beat us on opening night. It was a collective team effort. They had 7 guys in double figures. They shot 38% from the three-point line. They were 19 for 50 from the three-point line. So sometimes you can look at things and, if a team shoots 38% but only makes 9 threes, okay, that's fine. When a team shoots an above average percentage on volume where they make 19 threes, then you're in trouble, right? So that was the issue, is we let them shoot 38%, but also we let them shoot 38% when they shot 50 threes.
What I don't get about that is we came into the season, right, with the philosophy you have to shoot as many threes as possible, right? It was like, shoot more threes. Like everyone was saying it. That was the goal, is to shoot a ton of threes. And we come out right first game and let a team shoot 50 threes on us. Like we're not defending the threes or taking away the three from the other team. So just add that to the list of contradictions from our offensive schemes to our defensive schemes and what we like to take away from the other team. That kind of stuff never makes sense to me. We see traps work on Dame. We don't really explore that option when the other team has a point guard that's getting hot off pick and roll. We have like our defense was supposed to be designed to not give up inside shots or 3-pointers and give up a ton of mid-range shots, yet we see Several years under Stotts, you have Aldridge, Mello, and CJ all amongst the league leaders in mid-range shots on offense. And then now combined this year with the 3-point thing, and we were terrible at defending the 3-point line. Yet you'd think that would be an emphasis when obviously on offense our plan is to shoot as many threes as possible. So like it doesn't make sense to me that we wouldn't also flip that and say our defense should be designed to give up the least amount of threes as possible. But that's just another Stottsism, I guess.
Yep, another contradiction. We started off that game. We were only up 6. It felt like 9 because I remember getting hype. And then it looked good. We were up 17-11 with 6:39 left in the first. The final 6:39, we only scored 8 points. The final 6:39, they scored 21 points. It was a 21-8 run for Utah to end the first, and we never got back in the game. Halfway through the second, we were down 54-33. So halfway through the second, we were already down 21 points. We clawed back. We got it to 54-40, but we were not able to get back in that game. We were down 31 with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. We were down 83-52. So I mean, there were times, it was not a good game. It was not an enjoyable game. We just got absolutely blown out. Wasn't close. After we were up 17-11, we got dominated in that game. So we lost by 20 and we outscored them by 6 in the fourth quarter. So we got absolutely demolished opening night. Now we're a different team. We have Norman Powell in. He's going to be key. I just want to see if we're able to get him, CJ, and Dame enough looks and like good looks on top of that. That's if we can get Norman Powell, CJ McCollum, and Damian Lillard some quality shots, we'll have a chance to outscore them. The problem is they don't give up a lot of quality shots. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. So that's something to watch out for offensively. You know, if they're taking away Dame, if we're able to get Norman Powell open shots because they're taking away Dame and selling out to stop him, that's completely fine. Norman Powell's extremely efficient. So we'll still have a chance to put 130 on the board. They can take away Dame and CJ, and with Norman Powell, I mean, he had 32 points last game. And with Yusuf Nurkic and with Robert Covington shooting the way he is, they could take away Dame and CJ, and I feel like those other 3 guys in the starting lineup could give us enough where we could still potentially score, 125, 130 points any given night. It's much harder to do against the Jazz, obviously, but that's why I love this roster, is because you got, the role players are far better than they were in previous years. If you went back 3 years, right, when we had Al-Farouq Aminu, Maurice Harkless, and Yusuf Nurkic as our starting 3 front court players, if you said, oh yeah, they're going to do a good job of taking away Dame and CJ, you would say, oh yeah, we have no chance at having a good offensive night because Harkless, Aminu, and Nurkic, Nurkic is good, but you combine Nurkic with those other 2, they're not going to make up for a defense taking away Dame and CJ. But with Norman Powell, Robert Covington, and Yusuf Nurkic, that's a completely different story. And that's why I like this roster so much. Because not only do I think it's as good defensively as that the Harkless, Aminu, and Nurkic front court was, honestly, I think it's probably a little bit better defensively because I think Roko's a better defender than both Harkless and Aminu. Offensively, it's not even close, though. Offensively, it's not even in the same universe. And I'm a guy who thought Harkless and Aminu were underrated. But you bring in Norman Powell, Robert Covington to replace those 2 guys. We have the role players that can step up offensively if defenses do a good job selling out against Dame and CJ. But the problem is it comes down to this, Eric. If they sell out to stop, Dame and CJ, are Dame and CJ forcing tough shots against that? Or are they passing to a guy like a Powell or a Mello when they're in the game, and then, maybe they rotate over, and then those guys are just selling for contested shots? A good team would get ball movement off that. They're selling out to Dame and CJ, and you make a pass to Norman Powell, and they close out hard on him. You want him driving the lane, right? But then if they collapse, you want him then kicking out, and we need to move the ball. Because the ball might rotate back to a Dame who might be open, even though they sold out to stop him from the get-go, if we can move the ball and then collapse the defense and swing it back out. So it just comes down to, are we able to get quality shots against a good defense that'll probably really try and slow down Dame and CJ? That's basically the offensive question for me.
And to me, that was one of the few bright spots from the last game, even though we got our butts kicked, was Powell took upon himself to be aggressive, and he got to the free throw line a ton. I think he had like 15 free throws. Yeah. So, like, hopefully when we're struggling on offense, that gets contagious. You see a guy take it to the rack strong and get to the free throw line and get buckets that way, and keep us relatively in a game because we're getting those free throw attempts. That's something that CJ obviously has not done well his whole career, is get to the foul line. Dame is one of the better players in the league at getting to the line normally. He's had some stretches this year where he just cannot get a call, it seems like, but he needs to get back to, I don't know, somehow finding a way to, instead of complaining about it, maybe just exaggerating the contact a little more or something, and then if they don't call a foul, just, don't worry about it and don't let that affect your defense. But I hope Powell's aggression and his willingness to throw his body in there on those drives and mix it up is contagious, and some of the other players start doing that as well when we're struggling to hit shots from the outside.
Yep, I agree. I feel like this has been a pretty good and thorough breakdown of this game. We'll see how it all plays out. I still expect Utah to get a pretty comfortable win. I'm not going to believe the Blazers can keep a game close against a good team until they show me that they can. Yeah. And the last two good teams we've played, we've gotten blown out in both games. And it's been a pretty common theme this season. So that's why I doubled down on the Jazz. Now, if they have the talent to win this game. I believe that. I just can't buy stock in that until they show me that. Like, I need to see real results in order to be confident in them being competitive, even though they should be competitive, if that makes sense.
Well, that's been the theme all year, is we don't really care about how they look against crappy teams. We want to see them. We think they should be right up there with some of the better teams in the league, and the fact that they haven't been this year has been one of the more frustrating parts to me. But you look at it, they had 2 days off before the Clipper game. They had relatively, I don't remember what time they put in the into the bench guys in the Clipper game, but that game was out of hand and they put in their bench at some point, so they didn't play till the end like they would in a normal game. And then you see the Utah goes into overtime with Phoenix in a very tough, contested, physical game last night. There is no excuse to me to come out in this game and look like the more tired team, or the team giving, I don't want to hear like they just wanted it more tonight or whatever. Like, this is go time. We only have a little over 20 games left. We cannot afford to just come out lackadaisical or not with full effort, especially on the defensive end. And you hear all those clutch stats things. It's like, well, if you really wanted to be a better defense, you wouldn't wait till the clutch to start playing better defense. And I just want to see them come out and win a game, maybe that they're not favored to win like tonight, based on them just coming out and just flying all over the place, like diving on the floor, giving maximum effort, and just winning a game based on just grit and them just willing themselves to a victory, even if they're playing a better team.
Yep. So what anything else you want to touch on as far as this game, or just as far as the stream?
No, I think with Clarkson out, their bench isn't quite as good as normal. So that is something that I want to see our bench play well tonight. I think that's going to be important.
Clarkson's a guy that always gives us fits too. He's a guy who always plays well against us.
He's also a guy who can shoot you out of a game sometimes, but
not against us.
Yeah, but I just want to see some of our scorers off the bench. At least keep it even with Utah. Our bench is better than theirs without Clarkson. I believe that. So I want to see our bench outperform them. But if we're looking at the end of this game and they have like 30 bench points to like 16 for us, I guarantee we lost by like 30 in this game because there's no reason why our bench should be anywhere near their level without Clarkson.
Yep, I agree with that. So the benches going up against each other will be interesting because Clarkson is the front runner for sixth man of the year, right? Yeah. The reason they have a good bench is basically because of Jordan Clarkson. Without him, I mean, you got Derek Favors and George Niang. I mean, Royce O'Neal, or are they bringing Joe Ingles or Royce O'Neal off the bench? Because I forget. They kind of switch around a lot with that. But you'll have one of those guys off the bench. If it's Joe Ingles, then he's the main guy off the bench tonight. But Clarkson is what makes that bench a good bench. Without him, that bench is average.
Yeah, it looks like they might be starting O'Neal at the 4 and bringing Ingles off the bench. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, Ingles is he's a playmaking 3, and he's a good defensive player. But our bench outplaying theirs would really give us a chance, because their starting lineup is so good, and it's not even necessarily their talented starting 5, but the pieces in their starting 5 mesh really well, and then they're really well coached. So their starting 5 plays at a level that's greater than the sum of the parts, right? So our bench is going to need to at least be competitive with theirs in order for us to have a chance.
And even though he comes off the bench, I kind of consider that him a starter, Ingles. I mean, they want to have their lineups a little more spread out, I guess. But yeah, he's definitely better than Royce O'Neal. But.
Yes. So anyway, we're at almost an hour. We hit 100 concurrent viewers in this stream. That's nice. I don't know if that's a first, but that's pretty rare for Blazers Uprise Live. So glad that we're getting more people over here for our daily streams. Hopefully you guys felt like this was a good preview of what we're going to see tonight. I feel like we set the stage for this matchup pretty well. So anything else you want to touch on before we sign off?
No, hopefully we all enjoy watching the Blazers get a victory tonight, and thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yep, and if they lose, hopefully they lose by more than 6 for my sake. We all picked the Bulls, but 3 people doubled down, so it'd be better for me and you, Eric, if the Bulls lost.
Yeah.
Wouldn't look good for wouldn't look as good for our records, but the loss would be more detrimental for our mods because all our mods went with the Bulls. I tweeted out on the Blazers Uprise Twitter page, I tweeted out a picture of our picks for tonight,
nice.
Just for everybody to keep track. I'll try doing that for more streams. When there's a lot of games, it's harder because they don't fit on the graphic, but when there's 7 games or less, going to really try and do that for everybody to keep track, because a lot of times I'll forget, I'll be looking at a game and then it's like, who did I pick again? And I can't remember, the mods or anything. So if you want to follow our Blazers Uprise Twitter pages, at Blazers Uprise YT if you don't already, at Tori Jones YT for me, at Hoopshock for Eric.
And hopefully chat has another bad night.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Giannis has officially been rolled out. That was to be expected. I went with the Mavs. Chat went with the Bucks. Hopefully Giannis can get healthy soon, though. You don't wish injuries, but that'll help our picks for sure because, it's Giannis. You know how it goes. Yeah. Anyway, that's going to wrap up the stream. We will be live later tonight after the Jazz game, of course, as we've always done. As we always do. So we'll see if we're talking about a surprise win or a loss against the best team in the NBA. Either way, we will have you covered. We'll break down that game, and we hope to see all of you that's in here now later tonight. If you can't make it, then I hope you have a good rest of your night. We will see what the Blazers can do against the Jazz. We'll see if they're able to have some sort of success against a good NBA team, because that has been rare to come by. So with that, that's a wrap for the stream. We will catch you guys later. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.